morning was beautiful. The sun was rising over the city of Busan. Birds were singing. Children were walking to school. People were drinking coffee and reading news on their phones. It was a normal spring day. Nobody knew it would be the last normal day in human history. General Yuna Park stood at a military base near the coast. She was checking the new soldiers. She was a tall woman with sharp eyes and a calm voice. She had served in the army for 20 years. She had seen many things, but she had never seen what was about to happen. Her phone rang. It was her husband, Tae-ho Kim. He was a lieutenant colonel stationed in Seoul. He called her every morning. "Good morning," he said. His voice was warm and kind. "Good morning," she replied with a small smile. "Did you eat breakfast?" "Yes. Did you?" "Not yet. I will eat after the inspection." "Always working," he laughed. "I will see you this weekend." "I love you." "I love you too," she said. She ended the call and put the phone in her pocket. She looked at the sky. It was clear and blue. Perfect weather. Then the sky changed. A bright light appeared above the clouds. Then another. Then hundreds. They were not stars. They were not planes. They were ships. Massive ships from another world. General Park stood frozen. Her mind could not understand what her eyes were seeing. The ships were silver and black. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built. They moved slowly across the sky like metal clouds. Then they started firing. Beams of light shot down from the ships. They hit the ground with terrible force. Buildings exploded. Streets turned to fire. The sound was louder than thunder. It shook the earth itself. General Park was thrown to the ground. Dust and smoke filled the air. She could hear screaming everywhere. Soldiers were running. Some were crying. Some were praying. Some were already dead. She stood up. Her ears were ringing. Blood was running down her face from a cut on her forehead. She grabbed a young soldier who was running past her. "Get everyone to the underground shelters," she shouted now. The soldier's eyes were full of fear, but he nodded and ran to follow her order. General Park looked at the sky again. More ships were appearing. There were thousands of them now. They covered the sun. The world became dark. Her phone rang again. She answered it with shaking hands. "Yuna." It was Tae-ho. His voice was breaking. There was noise and screaming behind him. "Yuna, Seoul is burning. The whole city is burning. Tae-ho, where are you? Get to safety. I am helping people escape. There are children here. I cannot leave them. Tae-ho, please, I love you, Yuna. I always loved you. Please survive. Please live." The call ended. She tried to call back. There was no answer. She tried again and again. Nothing. General Park fell to her knees. Around her, the world was ending. Fire was everywhere. People were dying. And somewhere in Seoul, her husband was gone. The attack lasted for 12 hours. When it finally stopped, the world was silent. The alien ships had left. They had finished their work and moved on. They did not land. They did not try to communicate. They simply destroyed and departed. 3 billion people died that day. Half of all humans on Earth. Cities were gone. Governments were gone. Armies were gone. Everything that humans had built over thousands of years was turned to ash in less than a day. In a small shelter under the ruins of Busan, General Yuna Park sat in the dark. Her uniform was torn and burned. Her face was covered in dust and dried blood. But her eyes were open. They were looking at nothing and everything. A young pilot named Min-ho Lee found her there. He was injured too. His left arm was broken and wrapped in dirty cloth. But he had done something impossible that day. He had shot down one of the alien ships with an old fighter jet and basic missiles. It had crashed in the ocean. It was the only enemy ship that fell. "General," he said quietly. "General Park." She did not move. "General, we found survivors. About 200 people. They need a leader." Slowly she turned her head to look at him. Her eyes were empty, dead, like the cities above them. My husband is dead, she said. Her voice was flat. Everyone is dead. Not everyone, Minho said. We are alive. And there are others. All over the world, people survived. Underground, in mountains. In places the ships did not hit, we can rebuild. We can rebuild? She laughed. It was a cold, broken sound. They destroyed everything in 12 hours. We cannot fight them. We cannot stop them. We are nothing to them. Minho knelt down in front of her. He was young, maybe 25 years old. But his eyes were not afraid anymore. They were burning with something else. Something darker. General, I shot down one of their ships, me. A pilot with an old plane and basic weapons. If I can kill one, we can kill more. We just need time. We need to learn. We need to become stronger. General Park looked at him for a long moment. The fire in his eyes slowly spread to hers. She thought of Taiho. She thought of his last words. Please survive. Please live. She would survive. She would live. But not just to exist. She would live for revenge. She stood up. Her body was tired and broken, but her spirit was not. Not anymore. Show me the survivors, she said. Minho nodded and led her through the dark tunnels. Behind them, the ruined world waited. Above them, the stars shone cold and silent. Somewhere out there, the aliens who had attacked Earth were continuing their conquest. They had already forgotten about the small blue planet they had destroyed, but Earth would not forget. General Unipark would make sure of that. She would make them remember, and one day, she would make them pay. 10 years passed. The world above was still broken. Ruined cities stood empty under gray skies. No one lived there anymore. But deep underground, humanity was not dead. It was changing. General Unipark was no longer the woman she had been. The softness in her face was gone. In its place were scars and hard lines. She rarely smiled. She rarely slept. She spent every hour of every day working toward one goal: revenge. After the attack, survivors from all countries came together. There were no more nations. No more borders. No more flags. There was only Earth, and Earth had one enemy. The aliens were called the Valorans. Humans learned this from the crashed ship that Minho Lee had shot down. Inside the wreckage, they found computers, weapons, and bodies. The Valorans looked almost human, but their skin was pale blue and their eyes were completely black. They were tall and thin. They moved like dancers. And they had conquered 17 star systems before coming to Earth, Dr. Hannah. Oi was the scientist who studied the crashed ship. She was a small woman with glasses and messy hair. Before the attack, she had been a physics professor at a university in Seoul. Now she led a team of the smartest people left on Earth. Their technology is advanced, she told General Park one day. But it is not magic. It follows the same laws of physics we know. We can understand it. We can copy it. And we can make it better. How long? General Park asked. Years. Many years. Then we begin today. And so they did. In secret bases carved into mountains and built in deep ocean caves, humanity worked. They built new ships using Valoran designs. They created new weapons using Valoran energy systems. They trained new soldiers who would one day fight on alien worlds. Commander Junho Beek was in charge of building the fleet. He was a former naval officer from Incheon. He had lost his wife and 3 children in the attack. He never talked about them. He never talked about himself. He only talked about ships. We need them fast, and we need them strong, he said to his engineers. Every ship must be able to fight 5 of theirs. We cannot win by numbers. We must win by being better. The engineers worked day and night. They slept in their workshops. They ate at their desks. Some died from exhaustion, but no one stopped. No one complained. Everyone remembered the day the sky burned. Major Sumi Han trained the soldiers. She was a fierce woman with short hair and cold eyes. Before the attack, she had been a Special Forces commander. Now, she was building an army that would invade another world. You will not fight like soldiers, she told her recruits. You will fight like demons. The Valorans think we are weak. They think we are animals. You will show them what animals can do when they are angry. Her training was brutal. Many failed. Some died. But those who survived became something new. They became warriors who feared nothing. Not pain, not death, not the vast darkness of space. Captain Minho Lee became the best pilot in the new fleet. His broken arm had healed, but it was never the same. He learned to fly with both hands anyway. He practiced every day until he could do things with a ship that no one thought possible. "You have a gift," General Park told him once. "I have a debt," he replied. "I owe it to everyone who died." Years passed. The underground cities grew. Factories produced ships and weapons. Schools taught children about the stars and the enemies who lived among them. Hospitals healed the sick and injured. Farms grew food in artificial light. Humanity was not just surviving, it was preparing. General Park watched it all. She walked through the factories. She visited the training camps. She attended the science meetings. She remembered every face, every name, every story. One night, Dr. Hannah Choi came to her office. The scientist looked tired but excited. Her eyes were bright. "We did it," she said. "We finished the faster-than-light engine. It works. We tested it today." A small probe traveled to Mars and back in 3 minutes. General Park stood up slowly. "You are sure?" "I am sure." "We can reach the stars now, General. We can go to them." General Park walked to the window. There was no real view, just rock walls and artificial lights. But in her mind, she saw the stars. She saw the Valoran homeworld. She saw the faces of those who had killed her husband and 3 billion others. "How many ships do we have?" she asked. 37 capital ships, 200 fighters, all armed and ready, and the soldiers, 50,000 trained and waiting. General Park closed her eyes. She thought of Taiho. She thought of his voice on the phone, his last words. She thought of the fires falling from the sky, the screams, the silence that followed. 10 years she had waited. 10 years she had worked. 10 years she had kept her anger burning like a fire that would not die. Now it was time. She turned to Dr. Choi. "Call the commanders. All of them. We meet in 1 hour. What should I tell them?" General Park's eyes were cold and bright, like ice reflecting fire. "Tell them the waiting is over. Tell them we are going to war." Dr. Choi nodded and left quickly. General Park stood alone in her office. She picked up a small photo from her desk. It showed her and Taiho on their wedding day. They were both smiling. They looked so young, so happy, so innocent. "I am coming," she whispered to the photo. "I am coming for them. For you. For everyone." She put the photo in her pocket, close to her heart. Then she walked out to start the war. The human fleet jumped through space for the first time. It was strange and beautiful. The stars stretched into lines of light. Then everything went dark. Then the stars appeared again, but they were different stars. New stars. Alien stars. General Una Park stood on the bridge of the flagship. The ship was called Resurrection. It was the biggest and strongest ship in the human fleet. From here, she would command the first battle against the Valoran Empire. Commander Jun Hobik stood beside her. His face was calm, but his hands were tight fists at his sides. Captain Minho Lee was in the fighter bay, ready to launch with his squadron. Dr. Hannah Choi was in the science room, watching the sensors. Major Sumi Han was with the ground troops waiting. Everyone was ready. Everyone was scared. Everyone was angry. "Target in sight," a young officer reported. "Valoran Outpost 7. 1 military station. 12 defense ships. Mining facilities on the planet's surface." General Park looked at the screen. The outpost was small. It was not important to the Valoran Empire. Just a mining colony on the edge of their space, but it would be the first step. The first blow. The beginning of the end. "Launch fighters," she ordered. All ships moved to attack formation. The human fleet spread out like a metal flower opening. 200 fighters flew from the larger ships. They moved fast and silent through the dark. The Valorans saw them coming. Alarms rang across their station. Officers shouted orders. Defense ships powered up their weapons. They were confused. They were surprised. No one had attacked them in 1,000 years. The battle began. Human fighters struck first. They moved in patterns the Valorans had never seen. They were fast. They were reckless. They were not afraid to die. Minho Lee led the attack. His ship danced through enemy fire like a leaf in the wind. He destroyed 3 Valoran ships in the first minute. For Earth, he said quietly as each one exploded, the Valoran defense ships tried to fight back. They were bigger and had more weapons. But they were slow. They expected enemies who followed rules. Humans did not follow rules. Humans fought like they had nothing to lose, because they did not. General Park watched the battle from the bridge. Her heart was pounding, but her voice was steady. Capital ships, move forward. Target the station's shield generators. The 37 human warships advanced. They fired together. Blue and white beams of energy slammed into the Valoran station. The shields flickered, cracked, fell. On the station, Valorans were panicking. They sent distress signals to their empire. They begged for help. But help was far away. Too far. Commander Junho Beek commanded the assault. His voice was cold and precise. All ships concentrate fire on the command tower. Do not stop until it is gone. The human ships fired again and again. The station's command tower exploded in a ball of orange fire. The remaining Valoran defense ships tried to run. Human fighters chased them down. Not one escaped. The battle lasted 43 minutes. 12 Valoran ships destroyed. 1 human ship damaged. 0 human ships lost. It was a complete victory. General Park allowed herself one small breath of relief. But she did not smile. This was only the beginning, Major Han, she said into the communicator. Begin ground assault. Secure the mining facilities. Capture prisoners. Yes, General, came the reply. Dropships fell from the human warships like metal rain. They landed on the planet's surface near the mining facilities. Doors opened, and human soldiers poured out. Major Sumi Han led them. She carried a rifle in her hands and fire in her heart. Her soldiers followed her into the Valoran buildings. They moved fast and deadly. They cleared room after room. The Valoran workers and guards surrendered quickly. They had never faced enemies on the ground. They did not know how to fight up close. The humans did. The humans had trained for this moment for 10 years. Within 2 hours, the outpost was under human control. General Park transported down to the surface. She walked through the captured facilities. Valoran prisoners knelt on the ground with their hands behind their heads. They looked at her with fear in their black eyes. One of them, an officer, spoke in the Valoran language. Dr. Hannah Choi translated through a device. He wants to know who we are, she said. He wants to know why we attacked. General Park walked to the officer. She stood over him. Her shadow fell across his face. Tell him we are from Earth, she said. The planet his people destroyed 10 years ago. Tell him we remember. Tell him we are coming for all of them, Dr. Choi translated. The officer's face went pale. His mouth opened and closed. He looked like he might cry. He says Earth was supposed to be dead, Dr. Choi said. He says they killed everyone. General Park leaned closer to the officer. Her voice was ice. You missed some. She turned and walked away. Behind her, the officer started shaking. He finally understood. His empire had made a terrible mistake. Captain Minho Lee broadcast a message across all Valoran communication channels. It was simple. It was short. It was in their own language, so they would understand perfectly. Earth remembers. Back on the Resurrection, General Park gathered her commanders. The victory was sweet, but they had much more work to do. From the captured prisoners, they learned about the Valoran Empire. 42 star systems, 11 enslaved species, a homeworld protected by 500 warships. The path would be long and bloody. They will know we are coming now, Commander Beak said. They will prepare. Let them prepare, General Park replied. We have been preparing for 10 years. We are ready. She looked at the stars through the window. Somewhere out there was the Valoran homeworld. Somewhere out there was the throne of the empire that had burned her world. She would reach it. No matter how long it took. No matter how many battles she had to fight, she would reach it. And when she did, they would learn what it meant to wake a sleeping world. The news of the attack spread across the Valoran Empire like fire. A dead planet had risen from its grave. A primitive species had destroyed an outpost. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Empire felt something it had forgotten. Fear. General Una Park used that fear. She attacked 3 more outposts in the following months. Each battle was a victory. Each victory made the Empire more afraid. And each victory brought new allies to humanity's side. The Korath were the first to join. They were a reptilian species with green scales and yellow eyes. The Valorans had enslaved them 200 years ago. They were forced to work in mines and factories. They were treated like animals. They hated their masters with a deep, burning hatred. When they heard about Earth's rebellion, they rose up. On 3 colony worlds, Korath workers attacked their Valoran guards. They killed many and freed themselves. Then they sent a message to the human fleet. We want to fight with you, the message said. We want to be free. General Park sent Lieutenant Jiho Kong to meet them. He was a young man with kind eyes and a gentle voice. His parents had died in the first attack on Earth. He understood loss. He understood pain. He understood the need for revenge. The Korath leaders did not trust easily. They had been betrayed many times. But Jiho spoke to them honestly. He told them about Earth. He told them about the attack. He told them about the dead. His words were simple and true. His grief was real. The Korath joined the alliance. Next came the Morel. They were an aquatic species with silver skin and large eyes. They could live both in water and on land. The Valorans had captured them and forced them to work on water planets, harvesting valuable minerals from the deep seas. Thousands of Morel died every year in the dangerous work. When the human fleet arrived at their world, the Morel were already fighting. They had sabotaged Valoran supply ships. They had destroyed underwater equipment. They had refused to work even when the Valorans killed them for disobedience. Major Sumihan led the ground assault to free them. Her soldiers fought alongside Morel rebels through the underwater cities. It was hard and bloody work. Many died on both sides. But when the battle ended, the Morel were free. Their leader, scarred warrior named Tola, came to meet General Park. Tola had lost one of her arms to a Valoran whip. She looked at the human general with respect. Fight like the ocean, Tola said. Calm on the surface. Deadly below. You fight like those who have nothing left to lose, General Park replied. More species joined. The Varek, tall beings with 4 arms. The Sinta, small creatures with brilliant minds. The Horan warriors, who had been used as soldiers by the Valorans, but now turned their weapons against their former masters. Each species brought ships, soldiers, and knowledge. The rebellion was growing, but the Valoran Empire was not finished. They gathered their greatest fleet and sent it to crush the uprising. 300 warships. The largest force they had assembled in centuries. The 2 fleets met at the Crimson Nebula. It was a cloud of red gas in deep space, beautiful and deadly. General Park knew they were outnumbered, but she also knew they could not run. Running would show weakness. Running would break the alliance. We fight here, she said. We fight and we win. Or we fight and we die. There is no other choice. The battle was terrible. Human ships fought beside Korath cruisers and Morel destroyers. They faced a wall of Valoran warships. The space filled with fire and death. Commander Junho Beak led the attack on the Valoran flagship. His ship was called the Vengeance. It was fast and powerful. He broke through the enemy lines and fired at the flagship's engines. But the Valorans had set a trap. Hidden ships appeared behind him. They fired from all sides. The Vengeance was surrounded. General Park shouted over the communicator, Pull back! Pull back now! I cannot, his voice came back. Calm, steady, accepting. If I run, they will chase me. They will destroy more of our ships. I can stop them here. Junho, do not do this. Tell the others I am sorry. I will not see the end. But I am happy I saw the beginning. Goodbye, General. The Vengeance turned and flew directly at the Valoran flagship. It fired every weapon it had. The Valorans tried to stop it. They could not. The Vengeance crashed into the flagship's bridge. Both ships exploded in a ball of white fire. General, Park stood frozen on her bridge. Tears ran down her face, but she did not have time to grieve. The battle was not over. All ships, she said, her voice shaking. Press the attack. Do not let his death be for nothing. The Allied fleet fought harder. The loss of Commander Beak filled them with rage. They destroyed Valoran ship after Valoran ship. Captain Minho Lee's fighter was hit during the battle. He lost his right arm. But he kept flying. He kept fighting. After 6 hours, the Valoran fleet broke. The surviving ships ran. The battle was won, but the cost was high. 12 Allied ships destroyed. 4,000 soldiers dead. Commander Junho Beak gone. General Park stood in the medical bay after the battle. Doctors were treating Captain Minho Lee. His right arm was gone below the elbow. His face was pale from blood loss, but his eyes were still burning. How many did we lose? He asked. Too many, General Park said. And them. 29 ships destroyed. Their admiral is requesting surrender. Minho tried to sit up. What did you tell them? General Park's eyes were cold, hard, unforgiving. I told them Earth does not accept surrenders. We accept justice. She walked out of the medical bay. Behind her, the fleet was damaged, but not broken. The Alliance was hurt, but not defeated. And the road to the Valoran homeworld was now open. One more battle remained. The final battle. 1 year after the Battle of the Crimson Nebula, the Allied fleet reached Valora Prime. It was the heart of the Empire. The homeworld of the species that had burned Earth and enslaved a dozen worlds. For 10,000 years, no enemy had threatened this place. Today, that would change. General Una Park stood on the bridge of the Resurrection. Behind her ship flew the greatest fleet the galaxy had ever seen. Human warships, Koroth cruisers, Morel destroyers. Ships from 10 different species, all flying together. All united by one purpose. The Valoran defense fleet waited for them. 500 warships. The last defense of the Empire. They were powerful. They were desperate. They knew that if they lost, everything was lost. The battle began at dawn on Valora Prime. It was the biggest space battle in history. Ships crashed together in the darkness above the planet. Weapons fired in every direction. The sky of Valora Prime filled with falling metal and fire. Admiral Minho Lee commanded the fighter squadrons. His new mechanical arm worked better than his old one. He flew at the front of his pilots, leading them through the Valoran lines. He had not forgotten the day his arm was taken. He had not forgotten the day Commander Beak died. He fought for them. For all of them. Break through their center. He ordered, open a path for the ground forces. The fighters obeyed. They cut through the Valoran ships like knives through paper. Behind them, dropships carried soldiers to the planet's surface. Major Sumi Han was on the first dropship. Her heart was pounding, but her hands were steady. Around her sat 50 soldiers. Humans, Koroth, Morel. All brothers and sisters now. When we land, she told them, we move fast. We do not stop until we reach the palace. Anyone who falls, we come back for them. No one gets left behind. Understood? Yes, Major. They shouted together. The dropship shook as it entered the atmosphere. Fire covered the windows. Then they were through. The Valoran capital city spread out below them. It was beautiful. Tall, white towers. Green gardens. Rivers of clear water. It looked like paradise, but it was built on the suffering of others. And today it would fall. The dropship landed hard. The doors opened. Soldiers poured out into the streets. The fighting was brutal. Valoran guards attacked from every direction. The Allied soldiers pushed forward, building by building, street by street. They left dead behind them, both enemy and friend. General Park came down on the second wave of dropships. She carried a rifle and wore simple armor. She was not young anymore. Her hair had gray in it. Her body was tired, but her spirit was iron. She fought beside her soldiers. She did not hide. She did not give orders from safety. When a Valoran guard aimed at a young human soldier, General Park shot him first. When a building collapsed and trapped Korath warriors, she helped dig them out. The soldiers fought harder because of her. They would follow this woman anywhere. They would die for her. They hoped they would not have to. After 4 hours, they reached the palace. It was the largest building in the city, the home of the Valoran Emperor for 10,000 years. Its gates were gold and silver. Its walls were thick stone. Its guards were the best in the empire. They fell anyway. Major Han led the charge through the gates. Her soldiers followed. They cleared room after room. They climbed staircase after staircase. Bodies littered the floor behind them. Finally, they reached the throne room. The doors were massive and old. General Park stood before them. She was breathing hard. Her uniform was torn and bloody, but her eyes were clear. "Open them," she said. Soldiers broke down the doors. The throne room spread out before them. It was huge and beautiful. Paintings covered the walls. Statues lined the sides. At the far end sat the throne. The Valoran Emperor sat upon it. His name was High Sovereign Torith. He was old. His blue skin was pale and thin. His black eyes were tired, but he still held himself like a king. Around him stood his last guards, 20 of them, the best warriors in the empire. General Park walked forward. Her soldiers and allies spread out behind her. Humans, Korath, Morel, Varek, Cinta, Horan. All of them together. The Emperor looked at them with disgust. "You are insects," he said. His voice was weak but proud. "You will never hold this empire. You lack the will. You lack the strength. You are nothing." General Park stopped in front of the throne. She removed her helmet. The scars on her face were visible. The scars from the day his ships burned her world. "You struck Earth first," she said. Her voice was steady, cold, final. "Killed 3 billion of my people. You burned our cities. You murdered my husband." She drew a blade from her belt. It was made from metal recovered from her husband's base, forged and reforged, carried through every battle for 11 years. "We have come for you." The Emperor's guards raised their weapons, but the Korath and Morel soldiers raised theirs too. The guards hesitated. They looked at each other. They looked at the army before them. They lowered their weapons. The Emperor's face twisted with rage. "Cowards. Fight them." No one moved. General Park stepped closer to the throne. "Your empire's finished. Every world you enslaved is free. Every species you tortured has risen against you. Your fleet is burning above us." She pointed to the window. The Emperor turned and looked. In the sky, Valoran ships were falling like stars. Explosions lit up the clouds. "You'll stand trial," General Park continued. "Before every species you wronged, the whole galaxy will know what happens to those who mistake mercy for weakness." She sheathed her blade. She could have killed him. She wanted to, but that was not justice. That was revenge. And she was better than that. She turned and walked toward the exit. Her soldiers fell in behind her. At the door, she stopped. She looked back at the broken emperor on his empty throne. "You attacked Earth because we were small, because we were divided, because we seemed weak. You thought you could destroy us and walk away?" Eyes burned like fire. "You let us survive. That was your mistake." She walked out into the light. The war was over. Humanity had won. And the galaxy would never forget what happened when they woke the sleeping Earth.